हेलो बच्चों, वेलकम टू Amazon Academy. गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल ऑफ यू. हाउ आर यू ऑल? एम आई ऑडिबल? गुड आफ्टरनून. हाय दीपांशु. ओके. हेलो हेलो हेलो. या आई एम गुड. एंड एनके यू आर? इज इट योर फर्स्ट क्लास टुडे? गुड आफ्टरनून टीएस. गुड आफ्टरनून. ओके. राइट. So quickly give your attendance as well. Send me your names quickly. Hi JB. Hello. TS. Hi Khush. Nitin. Abhiram. Hi Tanya. So, Bacho, hi Jawahar. We have to discuss current today, right? And before we start with the topic, also want to let you know, is there any particular reason that you guys are attending the English class over the English class? Any particular reason? Are all of you not well versed with Hindi, or is it so that you had missed the class in the morning? Okay, 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 okay. Nitin, so you don't know Hindi? Understandable. Okay, Dipanshu missed the class, right? Because the topic is same and the slide is absolutely same. Okay, so Tanya was busy in the morning. Great. And is there any time slot issue? What is the time slot that you probably would have preferred? Is it the morning slot or the afternoon slot? Which time slot suits you? And if you can quickly give me the reason, if there is any, that yeah, Abiram, you also don't know Hindi. Understandable. Yeah, for you guys, especially, we have put the class as the English class where we will communicate only in English. Okay, so afternoon is preferred, right? The reason is that you guys don't wake up that early. Is it so? You prefer morning because your brain works better than. Great, great. So you're following English batch timetable. That's good to know because in the morning you are having school. Great. Yeah, so mixed reasons, I guess. Sometimes, for some students, the morning session might be free for this, but many of you are preferring afternoon, I guess. Hmm. Nice. So, Bacho, obviously, you know the topic name, that's current electricity. And this is about myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Ashish Gupta. And I did my BTech from IIT Bombay. I had a decent marks and rank, Bacho. Good experience all over. Uh, but Bacho, घमंड बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. Now, घमंड, I think some of you might be knowing, it's something like, bad ego or something, right? Yeah, so today is also AIPMT, so I would really like all of you to give the mock test. Okay, so all India mock test is going to. I think it has gone live, and you can all give that test. Also, Bachcha, tomorrow there is a session by Vipul sir, and that is, I think, a mentorship session in which he will be guiding you guys for how to give your JEE exam, and also there will be certain sort of motivation, right? So do attend that session of 1 hour. Don't miss it, right? So, what are the live class best practices, Bachcho? So you have to join the class on time, attend all classes, revise, be polite, never spam, and use my doubt section for sure. And the system requirements, the browser has to be either Chrome or Firefox. Use Android version 6 and above. And the class will run smoothly on some good internet speed, that is 5 Mbps and above. So if there is any doubt that you want to ask, Bacho, in the last DPP that was given on the basis of the last class, electric potential and capacitance, is there any doubt that you want to ask? Quickly tell me if there is any. Is there anything you want to ask in that DPP, Bacho? I think there were some 7 8 questions which was given, and if there is anything you want to ask, please do. Okay, got it, Nitin. Sure. Anybody else who want to ask a question, Bacho? Okay. Okay. So, Bacho, we will also do a quick revision on what we discussed in the last class, and it was a good class. Actually, we discussed certain formulae which are quite useful, quite straightforward, not that difficult. But we will quickly revise those formulas so that and I would like you to write it down in your notebook. Put your notebook in front of you and try to write down the formula which I'm mentioning on the board. So, Bacho, write down the relation between field and potential. Relation between field and potential. So there are two formulas. Try to write both of them. Uh, so I'm just marking the number besides everything. It is the number of formula that you have to try to write. Right? Potential of sphere, potential of hollow and solid sphere. So there are four formulae, two of hollow and two of solid. Right? So total four. Okay. Then you can try to write down the capacitance of parallel plate, capacitance of parallel plate spherical and cylindrical, right? So there are three associated, I think you can say 3 plus 1 4 formulas which can be there, two for spherical, one for parallel plate, one for cylindrical. Try to write them down. Then we can have, I think, energy of capacitor and capacitance on inserting dielectric. Pretty easy, I guess, straightforward, not that difficult. So I'll give you 30 seconds and you must have tried to write down all the formulae by yourself in that time duration. Okay. So I'll write down the formula myself after 30 seconds. Now 20. So relation between field and potential, delta V is equal to minus E dot dr, and do cross check whether you have written the same or not. And the reverse one is that E vector is equal to minus gradient of V, right? Potential has two formulae. Potential has in fact four formulae, two for solid and hollow. So potential formula I am writing over here itself. So one is kq divided by capital R, other is kq by small, or we can say x. This is for hollow, and for solid kq by 2r cube 3r square minus x square and kq by x. This is for solid, right? Then for capacitance, parallel plate epsilon naught A divided by D. Spherical. So spherical, you have the formula. The formula is 4 pi epsilon naught upon 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. And for isolated capacitor, it becomes 4 pi epsilon naught R. For cylindrical, the formula is 2 pi epsilon naught L. 2 pi epsilon naught L divided by ln R2 by R1, right? Energy of capacitor, pretty straightforward, half CV square or half Q square by C. Both should be known. And capacitance on inserting dielectric is C is equal to K times epsilon naught A divided by D. Q is equal to C delta V. That is one more formula which we all need to remember, right? So any doubt in this, bacha? I hope this is clear. I hope all of you have tried to write it down yourself. Good evening, DJ, DG. Please check. No need to note it, beta. No need to note it. You will get the PDF after the class. Okay. So don't worry about noting it down. And then you will get the PDF after the class. So you can refer it. Okay. So I won't give you that much time to note it down. In general, when we are discussing, you can just you have to listen and try to solve the questions when I am giving you to solve it. Okay. So this is the lesson structure, and it's a very standard lesson structure. We are going to discuss about current, electricity, but main thing is that we are going to touch on the concepts which are important and basically I'll be telling you, yeah, this is something to be known. We obviously won't be able to derive everything in this 1.5 hours, but the main thing is what I feel are important. Those concepts I'll tell you, and the related questions. Those questions which I feel that might come in your mains exam for March and April attempt. Those are the types of questions we are also going to discuss. Yes. So I think DG is Lakshman, I guess. But I have forwarded your concern. There should be a course for NEET soon, but I think the process will take a little bit of time. So just be patient. But yeah, it's in progress. So I is instantaneous current. Instantaneous. Right. So current is defined as rate of flow of charge. Rate of flow of charge. No problems in that. Also, the second type of definition of current that we say as average current, just like we have instantaneous velocity and average velocity, we have average current as total charge flown upon total time, right? So the thing is, we can write it in this manner: delta Q divided by delta T, right? So this we can write as average current. Thank you, Lakshman. Yeah. So when we say that there is a cross section in a conductor and what is the current I flowing through it, so we consider bachcho the direction, the sense of flow of charges across that cross section. So if somebody says that Q charge is flowing in this direction and the same amount of charge flows into the left direction, in that case bachcho the net current will be zero over here. That happens when there is no electric field across a conductor. In a conductor, the electrons have a random motion. So across a cross section, at any small time, if I consider, the amount of charge that flows from right to left is same from left to right. So overall, the term cancels itself out and we get a net average current as zero. But what happens when we put a electric field across it? There is a net flow of charge, and that average current is called the drift velocity. Okay. Yes, drift velocity. Drift velocity of current. So I is equal to NEAVD. This is the formula that you need to remember, guys. And I think that majority of you must be knowing it, right? So this is the drift velocity. This is the average velocity of electrons across a cross section in conductor, right? Let me see how many of you know about this formula. What is N? And don't make a mistake. Don't give me a half-baked answer. What is actually chota n? Bachcho, tell me what is this small n? About E, obviously everybody knows 1.6 into 10 ki power minus 19 coulomb, and A is cross-section area. What is the value of small n? What is small n actually? So Anjali is giving number of free electrons per unit volume. Excellent. I think this is the perfect definition. Perfect. Free electron density. Good one, Lakshman. Good. RR, Rajasthan Royal. Number of electron flown. Not perfect answer, beta. I think Nitin, number of charges passing through cross section. Again, not perfect answer. Tanya, number of free electrons per unit. Excellent answer. Good job. HA, number of free electrons per unit area. Per unit cross section would have been perfect. Yeah. Now, good job. So those who got it correct, good job. Those who didn't get it correct, it's okay. But don't make a mistake next time. So this is N is number of free electrons per unit volume. Not area, it's volume, right? Per unit volume. So we can say that this is free electron density. This is also fine. But free electrons are not necessarily same as the number of electrons in conductor. Okay. So you have to make that, you have to get the value corresponding to every conductor, and that should be given. So suppose for copper it is written that, you can associate one free electron per atom of copper. Then out of all the atomic number electrons that copper has, only one is going to contribute to becoming a free electron. Okay. There is other formula as well, like J vector, that is current density. This is current density, and we can also write the formula of average current density as delta I divided by A, right? Also, bachcho, we can say that J is equal to sigma E. All these are associated formulae with current density. Over here, E is electric field. This is electric field. Sigma is actually 1 upon rho. Rho is resistivity. I think you must be familiar with resistivity. And inverse of that is called conductivity. And there is one another important formula of electron mobility. Exactly. That is very important. I think it is due to come probably, if everything goes like planned, then it should come in this or the next mains attempt. So electron mobility, bachcho, mu e is actually equal to Vd divided by E. This is electron mobility, right? So the more this value, more is basically more free the electron is to move, and that is what electron mobility means. So bachcho, please remember this term, and pretty easy, pretty straightforward. It only involves a division. So these kind of formulae are quite useful. Now something like we can say relaxation time, right? That is a complicated formula. So I really feel that those type of formula are not that useful for mains exam. For mains exam, direct formulae are more preferred. Like even de Broglie wavelength, you must have seen how popular it is in mains exam. So go with those formulae which are simple to execute, and try to remember them for mains. Maybe some more typical things should be coming in advance and not exactly in mains, right? So we can go to the Ohm's law now. Ohm's law is pretty straightforward again. Most of you must be very well aware of this. Not a big deal. This is potential difference across R. Across R. R over here is resistance, obviously. And I stands for current. Now what is R equal to? R is rho L divided by A. So L is the length of conductor. Capital A is cross section area. Right. So bachcho, I think these formulas should suffice at the start of current. And ohmic devices. The ohmic devices, for ohmic devices, what do we say is that delta V and current graph is basically a straight line, and what will its slope represent? Quickly tell me, bachcho, what will be tan theta equal to over here? If you are given that this is a ohmic device, then delta V across R, that graph would be a straight line passing through origin with the slope equal to what? Will the slope be 1? Is it necessary that the slope is 1? I don't think so. Tan theta is nothing but resistance, right? So basically the resistance of this circuit is going to be the slope of delta V versus I graph, right? Also for a resistance whose symbol is this, we say that, bachcho, if I current is flowing through it and R is the resistance, delta V is equal to IR, and potential reduces along the direction of current. So if this is V1 and this is V2, then we can say V1 minus V2 is equal to IR. It implies that potential drops across the direction of current. Okay. I hope this is clear to all. No big deal. Pretty easy. Anything you want to ask, quickly ask, but only restrict yourself to what we are discussing. Now let us see color codes. Very important. Recent years JEE exams do have a problem on color codes, and there is a mnemonic which helps us to remember the color codes, that is BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. I hope many of you must again be familiar with this. So bachcho, if the resistance looks like this, then we have some 4 colored rings, right? So the first color gives you the first digit. First color gives you the first digit. The second color gives you the second digit. The third color gives you the power of 10, right? And the fourth color gives you the tolerance, that is the error in the value of resistance. So bachcho, over here, if we observe the name BB Roy, then the first letter B stands for black. Okay, so over here we can see that this is black and it is representing a number 0. The second B bachcho is representing brown and accordingly the number assigned is 1. Then we get R and so on, R, then O stands for orange, yellow, G for green. Forget these things which are written in small caps, only large caps are being considered. So G and then B stands for blue, then V for violet, G for grey, W for white. Okay. Now, if you observe these four colored rings, let us try to get what is the basically idea. What is the value of this resistance? Let us think. So, bacho, over here, yellow ring stands for number 4. So, this is the first number, that is 4. Violet stands for 7. So, the second number is 7 into 10 to power. Now, red stands for 2. So, that is why 10 to the power 2 comes over here, plus minus. The gold ring represents 5%, and that is why the tolerance is 5%. Okay, I hope this is clear, bachcho. Very easy, very straightforward, and the questions do come on this, so please do consider this extremely important. Right now, combination of resistances, series and parallel. I think again, series combination and parallel combination, many of you must be very aware of that and have good memories because you usually get good marks based on it. So, bacho, what are the resistance in series? We say that current is same and R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2. Everybody knows, right? I is same. If you ask your parents about this, they also might know because they must have also studied some bit of science in their school classes, and usually everybody has that kind of awareness that they remember this throughout their lives. But what they don't remember is that, bacho, if delta V1 and delta V2 are potential difference across these two resistance, then we say that delta V1 upon delta V2 is equal to R1 upon R2, right? So we have to remember this over here, that potential divides in the ratio of resistance. Okay, this is important, don't forget it. Nice one. Good job, Nitin. So, what about in parallel? Bacho? When two resistances are in parallel, obviously the potential difference is same. Potential difference across them is same. So delta V1 is equal to delta V2. And what about currents? If I say that the current flowing is I1 and I2, what about currents? We can write this as I1 into R1 is equal to I2 into R2. So current, bacho, divides in the ratio of inverse ratio of resistance. So current divides in the inverse ratio of resistance. This is again very important to solve circuits. So current divides in inverse ratio when resistances are in parallel, right? And we all know that 1 upon R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So what I would like you to do, guys, is solve a question based on it. Let me see how many of you can get it correct. Let us see. And only tell what is asked in the question. Don't be in a hurry to tell me anything random which you feel that you can calculate quickly. So let us see how many of you can get the answer correct in the first attempt. So find me the value of current flowing across the 8 ohm resistor over here. Let me see how many of you can get it correctly, bacho. So what I would also like is that you take less amount of written effort to solve this question. It should not take consume a couple of pages. You keep on writing down the smaller circuits and take a lot of time to solve. This is also not what I would love to see. What I would like is that you try to use these concepts of series parallel to get the answer in a small space and little lesser time. Okay, so try, everybody. So the question is find I. No, Lakshman, you're not correct. No, Nitin. So 10 ampere is the current flowing across the battery. I have not asked that, Nitin. I have asked the current which is flowing across the 8 ohm resistance over here. Nobody has got the correct answer yet. No, beta Lakshman, 10 is the total current which flows through the battery. I have not asked that current. I have asked the current which is flowing across the 8 ohm resistance over here. Nobody has got a simple question which is of 10th class level correct. So quite surprising. No, Tanya. No, beta SR. Still not correct. It's a 10th level question for sure. So I have ruffled a few feathers inside the students, right? Many of them must be so thinking that up to, we have to solve it. There is no other option. We have to get the correct answer. It is a matter of our self-respect. That's nice. If somebody thinks like that and get the correct answer, then it's good. Because in the morning class, nobody got the correct answer in the first attempt. Nobody. So it's not that straightforward. Yeah, it's good. It's not bad. You see, when you're trying to take something on your ego and your ego is good, if you have a good ego, then it works in your favor, right? That is what I said. कि मुझे घमंड नहीं है. That means I don't have bad ego. I have good ego. I like doing well in whatever I do. If you play badminton with me, I'll try to defeat you. I won't say कि चल I have taught you, so let him win. I'm not like that. I don't think like that. So you can have a good ego where you try your best. No, beta, still not correct. Not correct, beta. Still, I think 7.5 might be 7.5, 7.5. But no, no, not 7.5. It's not 7.5. It's not 1.66. It's not 6.67. Little disappointing. Nobody is getting the answer yet. Yes, now I got the correct answer. Shrivit has given the correct answer as 2.5. Bacha, I am giving you 15 seconds more, only 15 seconds, and then I'll solve it. I'm basically going to solve it right now, but yeah, I'll start speaking after now 10 seconds, right? So, bachcho, obviously, you can solve the circuit quickly. These two are in parallel. So in parallel combination, you can say that the equivalent is going to be 12 ohm. The shortcut is that 16 and 48, they are in the ratio of 1 is to 3. So what you can say is that R equivalent for these two will be take the larger resistance and divide it with the sum of these two. So that will quickly give you the answer when two resistances are in parallel. Okay. So obviously, bacho, the sense says that over here we have 12 ohm. 12 and 12 gives 24. 24 and 12, that gives you 8. So the current through the battery is 10 ampere, right? So bacho, what happens after 10 ampere is that the current gets divided into two parts. Now over here we had 24, over here we have 12, and now the current bacho divides in the inverse ratio that we discussed just a slide back. So this is 24. So the current that goes over here is 10 by 3 and current that goes over here is 20 by 3, right? Now this 10 by 3 has to be distributed in two legs. And when you have to see, bachcho, this is again in parallel combination, and therefore if the resistance ratio is 1 is to 3, the inverse ratio is 3 is to 4. So the current over here becomes 3 divided by 4 into 10 by 3, that gives you 2.5 ampere. Please check. Is it fine? Please check. Now the sense, what sense I use usually in solving it is that you have to be very comfortable in series and parallel to divide the currents, to divide the voltage, and then you will take a lot less time, because otherwise these are 10th level questions. Even a 10th class kid can solve the question. Now if he is taking 10 minutes to solve it and you are taking only 30 seconds to solve it, that is the advantage that you are going to have over him. Otherwise, what is the difference? If he also takes that much amount of time like you are taking, then there is no difference that you are creating in these 2 years. Okay, so you must be comfortable in these things, and you must be able to analyze the circuits more clearly, and then you will be able to get an advantage over those who are not in good practice. Okay, got it? So any doubt in this? Is it okay? Let's move ahead. I hope this is fine. So we'll take up these cases if they come in our discussions of further questions. So yeah, AM. So AM, the thing is that if you have 10 ampere and you have to divide this into 1:2, so I am using unitary method. So unitary method says that 1 ratio current will be 1 divided by sum of these two, that is 3 into 10, and 2 ratio can be written as 2 divided by sum of these two, that is 3 into 10. Right, so we call this unitary method. Use the previous topic, we have discussed that in capacitance as well, when we had to divide charges and potentials, so you can go through that discussion also. But yeah, this is what we have done. So bachcho, we are going to cover a lot of things, so different type of questions also we are going to discuss, but just concentrate for 10 minutes to quickly see what I am going to tell you about the important things that you need to remember. Now, temperature dependence of resistance, this is the formula. This is coefficient of this is the initial resistance, we can write down over here. Delta T is change in temperature. Right, so this is how resistivity is changing with temperature, right? So we usually say that alpha is very small, alpha is very small, and therefore bachcho, it does not really matter where you take R naught as. You can take the initial resistance as R naught, but usually if alpha is larger in size, then you have to take the R naught at 0 degrees Celsius, right? So the usual standard is at 0 degrees Celsius. However, for small alpha, we usually take R naught at any base temperature that is given. Okay, so it does not really make a lot of difference if you take R naught at 0 or R naught at 50 if alpha is very small, right? Only then you can use this. If alpha is not small, then use alpha is equal to 1 by R naught dr by dt to get the answer, right? So over here, this is the differential format, and you put the value of alpha which is given dt, bring it on to the left, use integration to get the answer. But this is advanced concept that we will discuss later. We will cover this part when we are taking up some advanced level classes. Right now this formula will work well for you. This is quite similar to thermal expansion as well. I think this looks very familiar, right? So I hope this is this you have used earlier as well, and you can use it later. Bachcho, Kirchhoff laws, let us go through the two Kirchhoff laws. First is junction law. I'm just going to write down a equation, making you revise what junction law was. I think again, this is something that should be very familiar to all of you. You should not be looking at for the first time, I hope. This is V1, this is V2, this is V3. So for a junction, bachcho, we can say that sum of currents on a junction is equal to 0. If the potential at a junction is X, then how can we use junction law? Sum of currents is 0. Now current is potential difference upon resistance. So what we can say over here, that this is V1 minus X divided by R1 plus V2 minus X divided by R2 plus V3 minus X divided by R3 is equal to 0 and solve for जो भी variable हो यहाँ पे, you can solve it for x, right, which is the variable over here. Same बच्चों, we can also discuss loop law over here, right? Loop law, in loop law we say that if you are having a circuit and if you start from a point and you turn around and reach the same point, then delta v across the loop, delta v across loop is equal to 0. This is the simple loop law, right? And over here we can write down, it's not a big deal again, that if you assume I and the value of resistances as R1, R2, R3, and over here if the potential is V, we can write this as minus IR1, minus IR2, minus IR3 plus V is equal to 0. That will give you the value of I, right? So if there are two variables, then you have to write down two similar equations and all that. So I hope this you already know. Okay, so these are the things that are important for mains level exams. EMF of cell is the max potential difference across the terminals of battery, but usually you also see bachon there is an internal resistance involved. Okay, yes, going to solve questions very soon. So this is internal bachon, and if there is a current I, then delta V across it will be equal to E minus IR, or we can say E over here is V. So this will be equal to V minus IR. Same goes if the current comes out of the positive terminal. Sorry, if the current comes inside the positive terminal, in that case bachon we can say delta V to be V plus IR. Okay, so these are the two different formulae and you just have to make sure that you know about them. R over here bachon is the internal resistance, and V over here is the EMF. Okay, beta, Nitin, the micro course on current had already happened earlier, so you can go through the previous recordings. You will get the recordings of the micro course series. In bachcho series, E equivalent is equal to E1 plus E2 up till En, and R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 up till Rn. In parallel, I think a very interesting formula is there. E equivalent is equal to E1 upon R1 plus E2 upon R2 up till En upon Rn into R equivalent, right? And 1 upon R equivalent is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 up till 1 by Rn, right? So these are the two formulas that we need to remember for combinations. Let us see some questions on it. Let us see, bachcho, now please solve this question of JEE Mains 2019. Now such problems, if you are not able to solve in the exam, you will feel absolutely horrible after the exam, and you won't be able to forget that that day when you had such a easy question to solve and you could not solve it, right? So that is something which you have to make sure, that the type of questions that are coming in the exams, practice on them, and you cannot afford to miss such type of questions and don't get full marks in it, right? So solve it. Give me the correct answer, bachcho, quickly. So there is a 200 ohm resistor, and it has a certain color code. If we replace the red color by green, the new resistance will be BB Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. So where is red? Red is over here, and this number 0, 1, 2. So R is standing for 2. So obviously, bachcho, this 2 is basically representing red. 3, 4, 5. Now green is representing 5. So obviously, bachcho, instead of 200, you will get 500. That is the answer. And you won't believe it, bachcho, you will obviously get at least 60 to 70% students who have no idea about what this question is asking. And even top 10,000 students of JEE Mains exam, you will at least have 600 to 700 students who won't be able to answer this question. So that is the type of advantage that you will have if you are going to go through this and you're not forgetting this simple mnemonic. That is what I want to say to everybody, that make sure that you get the easy and moderate questions correct. Good job, guys. I think all of you have given the correct answer. That's great. Good. Next. So there is a letter A which is constructed with a uniform wire of resistance, given resistance, and the sides of letter is given, the cross piece in the middle is given, the apex angle is given. What is the resistance at the ends of leg? Be careful, don't be in a hurry, don't make a mistake. Hi, AG. Good, good. So, how many of you attend both the classes? Is there anybody who has also attended the morning session? I hope there is nobody. Is anybody present who has also attended the morning session and then he is sitting again? I don't think so. Is it? I know that people are crazy. People can do anything, right? And especially Indians. Indians have a tendency to go through highlights every now and then. But I don't think anybody is that crazy that who is going through the session again. Is there anybody? I don't think so. Yeah, good, 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 good. Nice, good. So, yeah. So the correct answer of this question seems to be D. And try to solve this question by yourself. It should not require any kind of help, because this is quite straightforward that you are making an A, and the dimensions are given such that this section is a equilateral triangle, right? Because the cross piece in the middle is 10 centimeter long, and this is angle is given as 60. Because of symmetry, these two are same as well, so this also has to be 10 and 10. So if we see that the resistance is 1 ohm per centimeter, then all these resistances are actually same as 10 ohm. And if we just use series parallel, so this will be 10 ohm, and then we will have, this is 20 and 10, 20 by 3 ohm, and this is 10 ohm again. So R equivalent will be bachcho 10 plus 20 by 3 plus 10, that will be 80 divided by 3 ohm, which is approximately 26.7. Great, good. I hope this is fine. Any doubt in this, bachcho? Any doubt? Anything you want to ask? You cannot make any mistake in such questions. If it comes in your exam, you have to get it correct. There is no other option. Okay? Any concern? Any doubt? Anything? Is it fine? Good. Next. Now again, you will this question will make you revise some formula that we discussed at the start. And again, don't make a mistake. Don't Google. Don't try to refer your notes. Try to recollect what formulae are going to be used, and make sure that you try to revise what you have learned, right? Because if you keep referring to your notebook, or some formula sheet or something like that, you won't be able to remember it during the exam. So basically, make sure that you get hold of the formula yourself. So there is a current which is passing through a copper conductor. Yeah, I think AG, you are correct in this statement. And any idea, bacho? Because I have an answer to it. In the exam, the questions seem to be difficult, but after the exam, they seem to be lollipop questions. Why? Any answer to such, to this concern of AG? AG is Akshay. Is it Akshay? Nervousness, tension. Ansh. Okay, Ansh. Yeah. Mindset. Khush. I think yeah, it's a combination of everything. It's all in the mind, right? It's a mind game. You see, it happened just yesterday, right? That when Pant came onto the ground and started playing his shots, people were not able to believe that this is the same pitch in which nobody is able to score runs. Everybody seemed to struggle except Pant, right? So when your mind is clear, because he has a very clear mind. If you observe that what statement he says, usually says that, I just see the ball and I hit the ball. He has a very clear mind. He has a very straightforward mind. He doesn't really let the occasion get on top of him. So that is what you have to make sure as well. When you go to the examination hall, there is actually nothing different. It's just that you have to sit in a different spot. Apart from that, everything is same. You are same. Your thoughts are same. But if you try to, make it a big deal, you are going to give the exam, it's such a big deal, it's such a big exam and all that, then you will make things difficult for you, right? So if you just go and approach it like a normal exam, school level exam type of a thing, that is just you have to go and express yourself, then I don't think you will face that kind of difficulty. And you'll have to, keep practicing. You have to keep practicing with your mind. It's not a one day game. It's a marathon type of a thing, that keep practicing, keep making your have a little mind talk as well, that don't distract me or something like that, something of that kind of a thing, but you have to make sure that you keep your mind normal and let it not waver too much. Okay, right. So bacho, let's come back to the question. And yeah, that's a genuine concern, that sir, if mu is equal to vd upon e and we don't know the value of e, then how will we get the answer? How to find E? I can totally understand, AC, that it happens. It happened with me. It happens with everybody, you know. But you have to understand. You have to make sure that you should remain confident of yourself first of all. If you don't have faith in your abilities, then nobody else can have that kind of faith, right? If you see me, I am not, how do you really feel that the thousands of questions which I keep discussing, I have an absolute idea of every question that I discuss? It's not like that. But I have faith in my abilities, that I will be able to solve it when I have some question like this in front of me. That is the faith that you also need to develop. Okay, and you should feel that you have worked hard, you have tried to do your best, and you just have to show that effort during the exam. Now what is there to worry? Why is there a, you have to make sure you get in a good frame of mind before the exam. Think about the good things that happened to you, right? And then go and approach the exam. Don't let any talks get into your head. I would say that don't talk too much to people just before the exam, because even a random statement can do some tricks with your mind. So don't talk too much. You can talk with us because we know the status right now of you guys, but don't get too much in talking terms with most of the people who are not aware of what you're doing. So you have to do things like that in order to get ready for your exam. Now bachcho, yes, electric field can be found out by Ohm's law. See, delta V is equal to I into R. Now delta V is electric field into length and resistance is rho L by A. So this L will get cancelled out, and then you can substitute the value of E. So drift velocity is 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 3 divided by E bachchon will be equal to I. I is 5. Resistivity 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 8. And area will go in the numerator, pi r square. Please check. So bachcho, I think on solving this, you can solve, and you can get a close answer. You don't have to solve actually. You can ignore the 10 key powers because they are naturally going to get cancelled out, and you will get the answer in a integer, close to integer. So bachcho, we can just see that denominator is 8.5 and numerator pi is 3.14 into 1.1, close to 3.5. Now 3.35 into 25 will get very close to this number. So we can say that the best possible answer is option D. Please check bachcho. Is it okay? Is it fine? Correct? Next, please find the potential difference between A and B. Please calculate the potential difference between A and B. And I'll tell you two ways to approach this problem. And usually students do have a concern that in such type of circuits they are not able to figure out how to proceed. But what I would do, I'll give you a couple of minutes to try, and then I'll show you the two methods in which you could have approached such type of circuits. Please try. So you have to find the potential difference between A and B. Please try. I don't think D is correct. Even the majority of answers that we have got till now is going with D, but it's not the correct answer, beta. B for Bombay, is it? Okay, thanks for the update, AM. Thank you for being a good news channel. But let's complete our class for today, then we can discuss about what happened and what did not. I think yes, the correct answer is 2. So I'll give you two methods, bacho, which you could have used over here. First is the parallel battery equivalent. So what you can do, bacho, if you have these three batteries in parallel, then we can actually convert this into a single circuit of resistance, then R equivalent, then E equivalent, and then there is another resistance of 10 ohm, right? So you can say that bachcho, for this circuit, obviously there won't be any current flowing in this because it's not complete. So these three resistances are of no use. The answer of delta V across AB will be equal to E equivalent. Now what is E equivalent? Let us try to calculate. So E equivalent will be equal to bachcho E1 upon R1. I am using the formula directly, plus E2 upon R2 plus E3 upon R3 into R equivalent. Now what is R equivalent? R equivalent, we can say that these three resistances are in parallel. So R equivalent is bachcho 1 by 3 ohm. So if you put it over here, you will get the answer as 2 volt, right? Now the second method, let us see the second method. Let us see the second method. But in the second method, what we could have done, similarly, these two resistances are of no use. We could have said that, potential at B, let us assume it to be 0. We can take one point as 0, okay? So here it will be 1, here it will be 2, here it will be 3. Let us assume that potential at D is X, over here it will be X, right? And then we can apply the junction rule, right? We can apply the junction rule. So by junction rule, I can say that potential difference upon resistance gives current. So x minus 1 divided by 1 plus x minus 2 divided by 1 plus x minus 3 divided by 1 is equal to 0. That gives you x as equal to 2 volt. Please check. Is it okay? Why are the resistances affecting potential difference? Because beta, there is no current flowing in this. Current over here is 0. Current over here is 0 because there is no complete loop over here. Whatever the current is flowing only across this segment. Okay, right? Got it? Please check this out. Try out this question. It's an important question. I guess these type of questions can come again, and so please try to do this question by yourself without any mistake. What if you took 1 minus x, beta? In that case, you should have taken 1 minus x, 2 minus x, and 3 minus x. You will again get the same answer, right? If you take 1 minus x in the first one, then take 2 minus x and 3 minus x. Don't take 1 minus x and then x minus 2. If you will do like that, then it will be a problem, but otherwise it won't be a problem. Okay. Please solve this question, bachcho. We can actually, rearrange this setup. if current is there, no, current, if yeah, if current is there in the fourth resistance, we would have also written the fourth term over there. Okay, yeah, beta, this is Kirchhoff law only, this is junction law, this is junction law. Okay, so the fourth term would have come for this resistance, but there is no potential difference across it, so that is why we didn't write the fourth term. Over here we can rearrange the circuit like this. And bachcho, over here this is 6 volt, this is 9 volt, and you can say that this resistance is 5 ohm, this is 1 ohm, and this is 3 ohm. Okay, so bachcho, if you have to calculate the currents, what we can do, if we assume that it is 0 over here, that will help us in a manner that we will directly calculate the value of x, right? Over here we can take minus 6 because this is a 6 volt battery, so over here this will be minus 6, and over here this will be 9. Now we can apply junction law, bachcho. We can apply junction law over here, junction law. So that will give us x minus of minus 6, x plus 6 divided by 3, right? Plus x minus 0 upon 1 plus x minus 9 divided by 5 is equal to 0. And therefore, we can get the equation as 5 times x plus 6 plus 15x plus 3 times x minus 9 is equal to 0. And this will give us the value of 23x equal to 30 minus 3. 30 minus 27, 3. 3 comes towards right. So x is equal to bachcho minus 3 by 23, which is approximately 0.13. Okay. So we can say this is minus 0.13. Minus 0.13. So minus 0.13. High to low potential current flows. So current flows like this. So current flows from P to Q, and you will get the value as 0.13 ohm. That is option D. Why 5 ohm? Beta 2 and 3 are in series over here effectively. The same current that goes in 3 ohm also goes in 2 ohm. So these two can be taken in series, right? Got it, bachcho? Please check if you have got it. What I was trying to tell you, if this is clear. Is it okay? How did you decide this sign? Okay. So, bachcho, over here, I have assumed 0 over here. This is the assumption. Okay, assumption. So, obviously, this is negative terminal, this is positive terminal. So, over here, potential will increase. This is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. So, potential will decrease. So, how much will it decrease? It will decrease by 6 volt. So, that is why it comes minus 6. Okay. Is it fine now? Right. So, bachcho, I have just taken this battery, and because this is the positive terminal, I have basically tried to get it connected with P. So that is why the positive terminal comes over here. This resistance goes up because in any case these two are in series. So we can interchange these two circuit elements. It won't make a difference to the current in this leg, right? Why should we take 0? So beta 0 gives us the answer quickly. There is no other advantage. You can take any number over here. At one location you can take any number, but the advantage of taking 0 is that you automatically get the value of potential difference as x, because x minus 0 is the potential difference and the current will be equal to x upon 1. So that is the advantage of taking 0 at one point, right? So in any circuit, if there is no given potential at any point, you can assume 0 at only one point. Okay. You can also go through the class of current, electricity in detail when we were discussing micro, and over there I discussed Kirchhoff laws in detail. So over there you can see some circuits which were solved. I think you will get even more clarity. This is also clear, I guess, but even more clarity you can get from that discussion as well, right? Is it fine now? So bachcho, what we have left in this part is electrical instrument, and we can actually focus on the instruments directly. Direction from Q to P. No beta, it will be from high to low potential, right? High to low. So we have taken P over here and Q over here, so it will go from P to Q. Okay? Because this came out to be negative, right? It was negative. Current flows from high potential to low potential. So galvanometer, bachcho, it measures very small current, and over here we have Rg. This is the symbol for galvanometer, and this is the maximum current which flows through the galvanometer. So Rg is the resistance and Ig is the maximum deflection current, of galvanometer. Okay. So bachcho, what we have to remember is that these points, that range of galvanometer is very small, that means Ig is very small, and it has to be connected in series across an element where current is to be measured. So yes, galvanometer has to be connected in series. That is why it will be able to measure the same current. Okay. Ideal galvanometer has zero resistance. So any resistance, if at all galvanometer has, you won't be able to use it with 100% efficiency. So that will make it, not that useful. Yeah, galvanometer does act as a resistor, beta Nitin. It does. Okay. I think, yeah, Nitin, it might be a little bit in Hindi, Nitin and Lakshman, but I think you will understand my emotion since you have. I think Nitin, it's your first class, but Lakshman, you have seen me for many a times now. I think you will be able to understand the type of equations that are being made. During Kirchhoff laws, it won't really make that big a difference. You just have to see how the circuit is being solved, and that is basically English. Everything is written in English. A little bit of Hindi is there, but I don't think that will make it very difficult for you to understand if you observe how the circuit is solved. Okay. Great. So what's your ammeter? For ammeter, what we say, I think again something which all of you must be aware of. To convert ammeter into to convert a galvanometer into ammeter, we connect a very small shunt resistance in parallel to it, right? So the range increases dramatically. So range is Ia of ammeter. We say that the current flowing in the shunt is Ia minus Ig, and we can write down that Ig into Rg, they are in parallel. That is equal to Ia minus Ig into S, and therefore the shunt resistance comes out to be Ig upon Ia minus Ig into Rg. Now since bachcho Ia is very small, very large as compared to Ig, we can take that Ia minus Ig is approximately Ia itself, and therefore the shunt resistance is also defined as, in mathematics we can mathematically say that shunt resistance is equal to approximately Ig upon Ia into Rg, where Ia is the range of ammeter. Okay. So bachcho, it is used to measure significant values. It is made by connecting small shunt resistance in parallel, and overall ammeter is connected in series, right? If this is the external resistance, then we connect ammeter in series, and ideal ammeter has zero resistance. Okay. I hope all this is clear. There shouldn't be any much concern on these things, I think. What about voltmeter? Now we make voltmeter from galvanometer by connecting a very large resistance in series, right? So range of voltmeter is equal to Ig into R plus Rv, right? So voltmeter range becomes quite large because this Rv is huge resistance, very large resistance, right? And obviously voltmeter is used to measure delta V. It is connected in parallel, right? It is connected in parallel, and this high resistance is connected in series across the resistance of galvanometer. So these are the important points. I think all of you are aware, must be aware of it, and you must remember this by heart. These are important things, and that is why I also made them as a bullet point over here. So do remember them before you take the class. Ideal voltmeter has infinite resistance as well. Why? Because we don't want any current to flow through the voltmeter, because the more the current flows through the voltmeter, the more error it will give, right? So we want that this current should be very close to 0. Okay. Meter bridge is a balanced Wheatstone bridge. Again, very easy. If this distance is x and this is 100 minus x, we can write down r upon x equal to s upon 100 minus x. So the unknown value of r you can get, or the shunt which is unknown which you can get, right? So not a big problem in meter bridge, I guess. If there is any concern in the understanding of any of them, then do ask. But I think these are the very easy basic points that everybody of you must be aware. Now comes potentiometer. बच्चों potentiometer works on the principle that for a resistance wire having uniform area, resistance is proportional to length. Naturally, R is equal to rho L by A. So if this is constant, then resistance is proportional to length. Okay. Yes, principle of Wheatstone bridge is for meter bridge. And potentiometer, for potentiometer, we can say that, there are two cases which you need to remember for potentiometer. Suppose we use an external battery of EMF E1 and connect it with galvanometer to find the null point. And if the null point comes at length L1, yeah, sure. And so the thing is that in potentiometer, we have to remember that when they get the null point, when they get the balancing point, balancing length, that time the external battery EMF is equal to the potential difference across this length. So if E1 is proportional to, or basically we can say that E1 is equal to delta V across 1. And suppose if you remove this battery and say that E2 is another battery for which you get a null point corresponding to length 2, then ratio of these two bachchon, that is delta V1 upon delta V2, is simply equal to L1 upon L2. Please check. This is the first, we can say what, application to compare EMF of cells. I hope you all guys remember, even in CBSE board exams, there is an application based in practical, right? So EMF comparison is there, E1 upon E2 is L1 upon L2. And there is another example or application, we can say, application 2, internal resistance of cell. I think R, which is the internal resistance, is equal to L1 upon L2 minus 1 into external resistance R. This is the external resistance, right? And these are again lengths of the null point. So basically you have to understand the circuit diagram. Okay. So when you are connecting the primary circuit of potentiometer wire with the secondary circuit, you have to understand that at null point, potential difference across these 2 points is equal to potential difference across these 2 points. There delta V remains same, and that is what you have to understand. And when the questions are direct like this, you just have to make sure that you put the values and get the answer. Okay. So we'll go on to the questions once we discuss the formula of power as well. Power is also very easy. Power is equal to V square by R, that is delta V. Delta V square by R, or I square R, or I into delta V. And rated power, bachcho, rated power is at rated voltage. Like for bulb, we have to remember that rated voltage is usually 220 volt in India. So rated power, if suppose a bulb is given as a 100 watt bulb, then it is basically giving out 100 watt at 220 volt only, right? So do consider that in your problem solving. Don't be in a hurry. And finally, after that, we will just solve some questions. Maximum power transfer theorem, bachcho. So if there is external resistance, this is the external resistance, and this is the internal. So power across R is maximum when capital R is equal to chota r. That means external resistance is equal to net of all remaining resistance. Okay. So that is a simple maximum power transfer theorem. It comes by writing down power and then differentiating the whole equation. But yeah, that is the whole idea, that you just have to remember this fact. Okay, so let's solve some questions, bachcho, on this part. Please solve the first question that came in 2018, the online paper. Right, so try to get the answer to this question. Meter bridge, simple question. Meter bridge is quite easy, bachcho. Please try. Good answer, Dipanshu. Although, if you apply the complete maths, bachcho, it will consume some time. It won't be that straightforward. You won't be able to get it within a minute even. It will use some of your time. But I'll tell you a short trick for this as well. First, let us understand what the circuit will look like. I'll tell you a short trick about this, but let me write the equations first. So over here, bachcho, R1 upon X is equal to R2 upon 100 minus X. And then it is saying that on interchanging the resistance, so once that becomes R2, R1 changes to R2 and R2 changes to R1, the null point shifts to the left by 10. So this becomes X minus 10 and this becomes 110 minus X. The sum of these two is given as 1000. So when you solve these three equations, bachcho, you get the value of X as 55 centimeter, and once you replace it in the above equations, you will get the value of C as 550. But I'm not going to solve the equations. You can do it yourself, not a big deal. But what I'm going to do is, bachcho, give you a feel of what where the null point should of meter bridge should lie. Right? I'll give you that feel. Bachcho, since you are given the sum of resistance as 1000, please observe, bachcho. Let us consider option A and option D, right? So, bachcho, if I use R1 as 990, the R2 will come out to be only 10, right? So this makes the two resistances highly uneven, and therefore we would say that the null point would be very close to one end. And if you will interchange the resistance, the null point would go to the extreme right end. So how is it possible that the difference of shifts to the shift of the null point is only 10 centimeter? That makes these two options as quite nonsense, right? Think about it. Am I correct that this is obviously not possible, because the null points would shift by a huge margin, right? Since because we are dealing with the ends of the meter bridge. Whereas if we observe, bachcho, 505 and 495, where will the null point lie initially? We can say that the null point would be at 50.5 centimeter. And if we reverse this, the null point will be at 49.5 centimeter. So the difference in these two is only 1 centimeter, right? Whereas if we take the C option, the other cousin of it would be of 450 ohm, and the null points will be at 55 centimeter and 45 centimeter. So the difference of them would be 10 centimeter, which is asked in the question. Please check, bachcho. Did you understand the short trick? How you could have not solved the complete question and got the answer just by the understanding of meter bridge. But you have to be very expert in the understanding of meter bridge. If you don't understand the basic terminology of meter bridge, you will find it difficult. But yes, if you observe the options, many a times for meter bridge you can get the answer. Okay, good, nice. So, bachcho, next question. Let us go on to the next question. This is an easy question, but bachcho, don't make any mistake, any type of mistake, because the options do seem to be, multiples of what the numbers are given. So don't be in a hurry and make a mistake. All of you who are attempting should get the same answer. So you are given an ammeter whose reading, in fact, whose range is to 1 ampere, and the internal resistance of that ammeter is 0.81 ohm. To increase the range to 10 ampere, the value of required shunt is. So Dipanshu, you got answer as B. I don't think that is correct. Anjali, I think your answer seems correct. Dipanshu, check your answer once again. I don't think 0.3 is the correct answer over here. Yes, I think D is the correct answer, and it's a very simple question. So, bacho, over here, this is what we have to calculate shunt. The internal resistance is given as 0.81 ohm. Now, current in the old ammeter, you can say, that is 1 ampere, and over here we need the total current to flow as 10 ampere. So over here it will get 9 ampere to flow across it. So if these two resistances are in parallel, 0.81 into 1 is equal to S into 9. So S comes out to be 0.09 ohm. That is option D. Please check, bachcho. Please check, Lakshman. I don't think C is correct. The correct answer has to be option D. 9 times lower. So 0.09 and 0.9. There is a difference, right? Don't be in a hurry. Is it fine? Next. Now, what is potential gradient? Potential gradient, if you look at the options and the units that are being used, although these are in centimeter, potential gradient implies delta V divided by length, right? Delta V divided by length, potential drop per unit length. So try to get the answer of potential drop per unit length for the potentiometer wire. I think this is the easiest question of today's class, although it looks very difficult, but it's extremely easy. Understand why. It is saying the null point is coming for E2 as 1.02 volt. Great. It is also giving us the length of JQ as 49. So this length, bachcho, is 51 centimeter. So what is the potential gradient in the potentiometer wire? Delta V is what? Delta V is same as the EMF of cell. That is what I told you earlier, right? So this is equal to 1.02 upon 51, and that will give you 0.02 volt per centimeter. Correct? Please check. I hope this is absolutely a very doable, a very easy question. No doubt about this. So don't go by the face of the question or the figure of the question. Now looking at the question, it might seem a lot trickier and lot difficult, but it's not. It's very easy. The potential gradient in the potentiometer wire. So beta, it is saying that write down the delta V across the potentiometer wire divided by its length. So beta, if the current over here everywhere is same, you can say that the total potential drop across the potentiometer wire, if you calculate the potential gradient for any segment, it will be same if the constant current is flowing through it. So we can say that potential drop across PQ PJ is basically equal to E2 because null point is present. And if you just substitute the value and the length is given as 51 because this remaining length is 49 and total is 1. So you'll get the answer as 0.02. Okay. Fine. Next. A little lengthy question, I think. Don't be in a hurry. Do it carefully. Try to get the answer without lot of mathematics. Okay. Two electric bulbs are connected in series across a 220-volt voltage source, and if these two bulbs drop powers P1 and P2, then what is the values of P1 and P2? Please check. Please check, bachcho. It's a good question. It's a little lengthy in the sense that if you are trying to get the very accurate answer, you will find a little trouble. But try to understand what I've done. Uh, Try to understand. Before I start explaining, try to understand it by yourself. Please check. So, bachcho, what I've done is I have taken two bulbs as only two resistance, right? There are two resistances. So, because bachcho resistance can be written as effectively power is V square by R, right? So, resistance can be written as V square upon P. So, V square is 220 square divided by P. P is 25 for the first bulb and 100 for the second bulb. Now, what I've done, bachcho, that since they have connected both the bulbs in series across 220, so I have distributed that 220 in the ratio of resistance. That is the idea which I gave you in the series connection of resistance, right? So basically 4/5 of 220 came in 4R and 1/5 of 220 came in R. Now what I've written that for V is equal to 220, power is 25, but now they have taken 4/5 of that value. So instead of V, if I'm going to put 4 by 5 times 220, so that ratio 4 by 5 will be used in power with a square of that. So 16 upon 25 into 25, that will give you 16 watt. And similarly, bachcho, for R we can say that 1 by 5 square will give us the factor of 25 extra in denominator, and if that power is 100 original power, 100 upon 25 will give you 4 watts. So the answer becomes 16 and 4. Is it fine? Please check. Is it okay, bachcho? It's an interesting question. It's a good question. And this is how you can approach it. Most of the questions of which involves bulb are a little, lengthy until unless they're very straightforward, which comes in NTSC that, two bulbs are connected in series, then how much will they glow, which will glow brighter. I think you must have encountered such type of questions in your 10th class. So Nitin, that transistor and diode class will be on semiconductors, and that will happen. I think in April it's scheduled. If you want to go through the discussion earlier, then there was a class in the earlier crash course which you can access. Okay, but we will discuss that in due course of time. Okay. So the last question of today, bachcho, try it out. I think you must have all attempted this question as well. What is the... Now try to get the answer by yourself without my help. Please try. So the rated supply voltage to room is this. So based on this rated voltage, the bulb power is given. Okay, and the heater power is given. The resistance of lead wire is 6 ohm. And there is a bulb which is also a resistance effectively. So, bachcho, this is how the circuit looks like, and we have to find the decrease of voltage across the bulb. Okay. So, bachcho, this is the bulb, right? And what is the delta V1? Delta V1, we can say that again the same logic of series that we discussed in the start of class, that we delta V divides in the ratio of resistance. So it will be 240 divided by 246 into 120, right? And over here delta V2 can be written as, now parallel resultant of these two will be simply equal to 48. So we can write this as 48 divided by 54 into 120. This is delta V2. So the answer is equal to delta V1 minus delta V2. And if you solve this, this approximately comes to be around 10.04 volt. So the answer of this question is option D. D for Delhi. Okay. So, bachcho, did you understand some of the things that we discussed? I hope today's class was a little helpful. You must have, learned something new for your mains exam, and I hope that you all do well. Keep working hard on your skill set. Try improving. Keep giving mock test on Amazon Academy, and also practice previous year papers. They are extremely useful for the upcoming sessions for sure. I'm pretty sure that the upcoming mains exam will have lots of questions being repeated which were already covered in the earlier mains classes. Okay, so bachcho, all the very best to all of you, and quickly I think I'll also let you know again that tomorrow you have a mentorship session with Vipul sir, so do also go through that session. You will enjoy it a lot. Okay, so bachcho, all the very best. Bye bye. God bless you all. This is me signing off. We will meet on 9th of March and we'll cover the first part of rotational motion. Thank you, JB. Thanks, Nitin. Bye, Tanya. Bye. I think Lakshman was there. Shishti was there. Bye, Double A. Bye. Take care, bachcho. We'll meet on 9th now. Bye bye. God bless you all. Bye, BD.
For detailed videos, daily practice problems and live chat, visit academy.amazon.in or download the app.